4, 3, 2, 1. We are all here shooting this shit with our hosts, DJ Duss and Bamboo Bam. Let's go.
Yo, what's up? I'm your host, DJ Duss, doing this solo. Bam's in bed. We have a late night podcast tonight. We have a special guest from Australia. So Bam's actually an hour ahead where he's at. So it's really, really late for him. So he's not here today. So, you know what? I needed a break from Bam anyway. So we'll see him probably sometime next week. But let's get right into it. People, like our Facebook page. That's at Shooting the Shit. You can stream all our live episodes, comment, question, all that other stuff. You can do the exact same thing on YouTube. That's at Shooting the Shit Podcast. Subscribe, get your notification, watch it live, be a part of the show. Also, when it's all said and done, we usually upload it on to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, all that good stuff. That's all major streaming platforms. That's at Shooting the Shit Podcast 1. I don't want to have my guest waiting. She's backstage. Super talented. I gotta love the internet. The internet makes us reach out, to each other, and I got blessed to cross paths with her. So let's get her on. How you doing, Tiggy? How you been?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Excited to have you on. You are probably.
Cheers. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
It's been so cool because when I crossed paths with you on Instagram, it was so wow. It was something for me with the podcast. We do some. I'm not saying anything negative, but we do some of the repetitive stuff, you know what I mean? And when it came to you, I was like, damn, this is definitely something I need to get a hold of. This is very,
I love it. Get her on.
Yeah, so it's been very, very great. So right now, when I told you when we were chatting, we were talking about the time difference.
Yes.
Here in Canada, they do this stupid thing where they call, I don't know, they change the hour from 1 hour to the other, and today,
daylight savings, is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah. And today, when I said, we're going to be doing this at 3, it's actually 4 a.m. for us.
Oh my god, because I thought you were going to be at 2:30 a.m. and I was like, is he going to go to bed? Or if it was me, I'd probably just stay awake.
Okay, listen, it'd
be worse to wake up at that time.
Don't judge.
Yeah.
5 to 10 years ago, I would have stayed up.
Yeah.
The old version of me.
You said 4 a.m. If it was 4 a.m., then I can wake up and start my day. But 2:30, no way.
Come on, man. I took a nap like an old man. I took a nap and I woke up and got ready for this. That's what I did. I had to. I had no choice. But the thing is, I almost screwed this whole interview up too. I'll tell you another thing. So our daylight saving stuff, at 2 a.m. the time switches. So I put it for 2:18. I'm like, make sure I get up. I got it before that, but I had to But at 2 o'clock, if it switches to 3 a.m., it'll never be 2:18. Yeah. So I almost screwed up. So I was like, I
would have been waiting.
So because I'm in bed. I'm like, it's never going to be 2:18 today. So I had to get back up. So I didn't get a really good nap because I got all paranoid. But whatever. So it is what it is. Yeah. But all right. So let's get people to know you a little bit better. So where were you born and raised?
I was actually born down in South Australia. So I was brought up in the town of Belair, which is the Adelaide Hills. So I came up to Queensland, which is the Sunshine State, when I was 11 years old. So yeah, it's very different. South Australia is cold, yes,
I can see that.
Yes, it's just a different culture. It's sort of like it's an old city like Melbourne. Okay. But when an Australian says old, we've only been here for 200 years or something. So overseas, when they say old, it's thousands of years.
I know. Trust me. Here in Canada, it's even worse. It's I think I have grandfathers that are older than Canada. But that's but when you mean cold, what do you mean by cold? By the way, because
we used to wear parkas, big jackets, hoodies and gloves and all that. Yeah, definitely. And then now you come up here, we might put on a light jacket in winter.
See, here cold. Here we're actually having races against penguins and stuff. You know what I mean? It's really here. Cold is a whole. It was so cold last night.
Freezing.
It was so cold last night. I was putting gas, and this girl got out of her car and she screamed.
Oh really?
She's like, ah! And I was like, oh my god. I'm like, but deep down screaming too. But I had to hold it in. So it was one of those types of cold. So how was it growing up in Australia?
Oh, it was fun. I grew up with two sisters, which is probably where I got all my you know, my fetish for makeup and hair and things because it was
Nice.
a very girly household.
Yeah.
And my dad was pretty hardworking. I didn't see a lot of him when I was growing up. He's from Germany, so his parents grew up in the war. It was very different, and so you know he saw a way to earn money and give us a great lifestyle. So that's what he sort of did.
Cool.
And we're with our mum, who she's beautiful. Yeah, she's where I get my big personality from, I think. Definitely from my mama.
So
That's how I got it, from my mama.
there you go.
It's real.
My curiosity is you're in Australia. This is places
Yeah.
where the reason why we haven't flown out there yet is because it's like a 14-hour flight and
COVID, the borders are shut.
well, COVID's the excuse for right now, my good excuse, but it's like I don't like being next to a human being for that long that I don't know. But the thing is, we're like, it's such a beautiful country, and especially like, you know, we're surrounded by water, the weather's beautiful. And but when you travel, like, is there a vacation that you go to, or do you say screw it, I'm already here?
Oh no, definitely. Like, I'm a big traveler. I lived up in Cairns, so that's like where the rainforest meets the ocean. So that's further north from where I am now, and it is hot there. Like, you won't wear a jacket the whole year. It is very hot. You know, it's the tropical climate. But the reason I moved back down the Sunshine Coast is it's close. Like, the cities, you can fly to Melbourne or Sydney just for a weekend. Yeah, so it's awesome. But I'm right into my camping as well. So we just get out, you know, into the bush or wherever we can get to.
Our friend Sauce from Australia, he was where did we go? We went to Dominican, and then I guess he called a travel agent where you're at. And they were confused. They were like, why would you want to go there? Like, they were just, but his flight was a little bit different. He wanted to fly from Australia to Dominican, stay there a week, then fly back to Canada because he had to see a friend. So he screwed his whole thing up. But it was like, he was like, I had problems getting a flight out here because it's like, I guess so, because it's like you're going from a beautiful country to another beautiful country. So they're like, what are you doing? Us, it's like down south, or they have like lineups for us. They're like, come right here, you're going to go down south. But in his case, it was a little bit different. But the flight took him forever. He has an amazing story.
Flights are really long. Like, I've been to WA. It's a very long. You're just traveling. We actually I came back from a trip because during COVID we've all, you know, just been doing a lot of local stuff, and we thought we'd just do a trip out to Uluru, which is pretty much the center of Australia. Okay. And we drove for 4 days, 3,000 kilometers. It was insane. And you can just drive for, you know, 4 hours and not even see a town. Like, it's it's just dead road. And then when you're over in Europe, you know, how many countries have you passed in that amount of time?
Yes.
And languages and cultures, you know, it just changes. So
literally, you hear the stories about. You're right. You hear those stories about in Europe. It's like they just take a quick train to the next country, and you're just like, it is crazy. Yeah, I know.
I was lucky to live in London actually, and I got to do, because when you're in Australia, you're part of the Commonwealth.
Yes, that's
you know, so you actually get to do, if you want to, it's a working visa, so you can go over to the United Kingdom and work for anywhere in the United Kingdom, and you can work for 2 years. And just without getting, you know, citizenship. But you've got to do it before you're 30. So I did that, and it was cool because it was like a good point to go to all these other countries, like, you know, fly out to Ibiza for a weekend, or like, or go to Croatia or the Greek islands.
Oh, wow, that's so awesome. So I noticed. So listening to all your music, you're a singer.
Oh, thank you. I did see a few comments coming up. I was like,
you're a singer. You rap. You perform. So how old were you when you noticed you had these talents?
Oh. When you say talents, I'm like, I'm just making it work.
Well, you're making it work pretty well then.
Oh, thank you. So I pretty much call myself a writer more than anything, because I like to write lyrics.
Yeah.
And and I'm learning to sing, so my style's changing, but I've only really been doing it for 2 years, and I've been writing poetry for years, but I started writing songs, and then my kids were singing them, and I'm like, God, if you guys can remember it, like, you know, they're in the back seat, like, singing to you. Cool. Oh, and then I had to come up with a name and everything. Yeah, and it was like, and then I just booked some studio time, because I know a lot of people are real creative and they get on GarageBand and record all their own stuff. So I'm not even at that stage yet. I go into studio and get a professional to do it. And I think it's because I'm still not 100% confident with my sound, and they give you the optimum sound there. So, and they're so super talented. Like, they actually really don't get paid enough when you think about it. Like, you go in there and they just create this masterpiece with what you've got, and it's so cool.
2004, 2005, I owned a music studio. Don't get me wrong. Oh,
really?
I knew nothing about music.
So you're the talent now.
No. I was just an investor. I was just the guy. So I hired this engineer, and then when he broke it down on how literally people would come in and they would sound terrible.
Yes.
And when he was done with them, they sounded amazing. That's what I was
like. Well, they can do all that reverb, and even the microphones are worth like 15 grand,
Yes.
And so it's all these little things that, I mean, you only got to get out of something what you put into it, and
that's right.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with my music. But
so like how long ago did you start taking it finally seriously? You wrote it. You were writing songs. So how long ago was this?
It was probably only 2 years, and I'm just having fun with the with making film clips as well too, because I think sometimes people, judge, they'll get on and be like, whoa, like, what is she doing?
Love it.
And we're just, because I literally just come up with an idea in my mind, like, and then I'll just, because I do a bit of photography, as you know, I sort of put it all together, and when it becomes reality, it's like, wow, that, the creation's real, like, it's out there. And I guess that's what art's all about, making something from your mind to come to life. So like I had this idea of dress up my gorgeous muscly friend Phil and paint him in glitter and put a unicorn mask on him and have a champagne fight and bounce some glitter off some speakers, and then like
why not,
just random stuff like cruising in these old bikes and shit in the
I love that video.
That was my check and film clip. And it's cool because it's the way you sort of make connections too, because people can see that you're putting yourself out there. And so I guess that's why we're even having this interview, because you can see I'm putting in a bit of an effort with it. So
you know what, you have to. If you're not going to bother, then don't bother. I've always been a big fan of people, like when they put their music out, I'm always like, please put out a few videos with it, just because people like to see who's behind the music.
It's very visual, and I find that like now, since I've started making film clips, I actually recently got my first videographer on board, and Rob Bruff, he's amazing. So he did such a better job, but he's because he used all the drones and everything, and he's gorgeous. But I really feel like a song's complete once you've got the visual.
Yep.
It's like you've tucked it away and you're like, that's done. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Whereas if it's not if you haven't done the film clip yet, and there's a couple of songs I'm actually saving because I want to have such a production for it. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get signed and then we can have a fucking budget.
Good for you. That's it.
That'd be nice. And then we'll pull that number out.
Yes. I like that because for me, you have to understand that people's their attention span is so short.
Yeah,
you can put a song on and give them 20 seconds in, they can be like, whatever. But when you have a video, they tend to watch majority
visual,
of it, if not the whole thing.
Captivating, totally.
And people need to know where it's at today. Today, you need to give them something to watch, and then they'll listen and be like, I like the video, I like the song, and that's the way to go. But so let's say like I flew into Australia, I met my friend, we meet up, and we find out that you sing and you rap. What song would you make us listen to first?
Oh, I did this number last night. It's called Cream of the Crop, and it was awesome. Like, the crowd went wild. So I would say that one for now. It's a fun song, and it's got a bit of rap, but also a bit of singing, because I get it's weird. I've got two types of people that will say, some people say, why are you singing? I'm loving your rap. It's so fun. And then other people say, oh, you're so much more relatable when you sing, because it shows the emotion in your voice. And I don't know. It's just, I guess it's what tickles your pickle.
Do both. I'm telling you right now, look at Drake. Drake sings and raps. I'm telling you, if you are capable of doing both, you do both. Do not.
Don't
keep yourself at one side. Trust me, because you're right. Exactly. I like this. I like that. And if you have majority of the people liking certain styles of what you do, that's what you do. I'm telling you, do not change that. So like, like you said, you started this a few years ago. Were you nervous starting into it? Or were you still full of confidence?
Oh, well, this is where performing and writing are two very different things,
Yes,
because you
yes.
can sit at home and write for years. You can just write. Cheers, by the way, to Judges.
Cheers.
Look at us. So learning to perform is a full art form all on its own.
Yes.
So I'm at that stage as well. Last night was my 10th time on stage. I'm still counting because I perform with people that have been doing it for 15 years, and they come out, and even just the fact that you're in a lineup with someone that's professional like that, just it makes, it gives you butterflies. You're like, oh my God, like you're so talented and I'm in the lineup with you. Like that's incredible. So yeah, it's definitely a fun feeling.
I love
it.
Because on this podcast,
getting on the stage, babe, don't you?
Well, you know what I mean. The DJing thing. You have no idea. You obviously know, but people that don't have the idea that how much control you actually have with the music. You can literally have control of their energy and their emotions through music.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So when to pump the energy up, and their energy will come back to you. So that's what it was with DJing. It was always like, I knew I used to roller coaster it a bit, bring it back down, bring it back up. Yeah, I know. So I do miss some aspects of it, but there's others that I don't. But I find funny with this podcast is I interview a bunch of people that perform all the time. And right before they get on, they go, "Oh my God, I'm nervous." And I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, You just performed 1,000 times in front of people, and this is what's making you nervous? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And some people that are like mega famous, like some of the what's the chickie out of Black Eyed Peas?
Oh, Fergie.
Yeah, Fergie. I heard that she's really, really scared of being in front of the crowd. You think she's on the world stage that she would be able to just do it, but it's something that will forever be a new experience, because every different crowd you're in and every different room brings a new energy, and I don't know, it's all the excitement of it.
I totally agree.
I'm losing my light here.
I didn't think people were busting my chops to do this as a podcast.
Really?
Like, I had a friend of mine, you got to do a podcast. I was like, I knew nothing about it. I was like, nah. I stayed away from it.
Yeah.
Every time I'd see him, do it. And I was like, fine. And I even when I did my first couple, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. And it was just, but you know what? It's like everything else. You work at it, you get better. And you know what? I had no problems listening to myself and totally criticizing myself. Be like, this has to change, or oh my God, this is terrible. What was I thinking here? You know what I mean? But it's been fun. It's definitely been a fun ride. What I really enjoyed about the podcast is the people I met through it. You know what I mean?
I know, and it's the connections, and that's where I'm sort of at now as well, because I'm meeting so many new people in the industry, and I'm all about the collaborations. Mm-hmm. The more collaborations I can do and learn in this art form and everything is like the better. I also think that that's something I actually wanted to mention, because I feel like there's such a competitive, especially with social media, people look in this way that like there's not enough to go around, and like people that are doing the same thing as you are like mortal enemies or something.
Why is
like,
that?
That people should legit like uplift each other, and you think in abundance. Like if you see someone that's doing well, you should holler at them and tell them, and you rise by lifting others, and then and what you could learn from one another, or the potential of like the connections, like we just said, alone, or all that is so important.
Yep.
Because
there was music in our city hit big.
Yes.
Early mid 2000s, and not one person worked with each other. It was bashing and holding each other down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, guys, man, there's not a winner here. Everyone
you've
could
got to
win.
think in that abundance, like I'm so excited. The people I've met through this, and there's always going to be haters.
You can't avoid that. You can't avoid that.
No, and I think in Australia we've got this thing called tall poppy syndrome.
Okay.
And so if anyone's being a tall poppy, you need to be squashed. Come back down, like
I love
down,
that.
girl.
But that's the thing. The thing is,
Down,
it's
boy.
how you react from people hating on you. You have to. You know what? I'd rather have someone hate on me than not talk about me at all.
Yeah.
Because if they're hating on you,
I've definitely affected a few people in the hip hop world, and I don't think they're trying. I think they're just trying to protect their energy, and people are programmed, only know what they've come from, and if they're programmed to see something a certain way, they will guard that and hold on to that. Whereas I come in and I've got like, drag queens around me, or I've got feathers on stage, or like, and they can't deal with the unicorns and the glitter and
that's the way to do
much, and
but that's what stands out.
And people have said, you're not hip hop enough, or you're not this, and I get it, because
there's no such thing.
People say that, and I listen to so much rap, and there's a lot of pain in it. Like there's a lot of darkness in the stories, and and so I guess I've taken my art. I've got a lot of emotion there. That's how I've become a writer. But I don't like to talk about a lot of negative stuff, I guess, because I'm living in a world where I'm trying to like, it's the fantasy and it's the fun, that I'm wanting to bring. And if you listen to more of the singing I do, it's definitely more emotional. But I feel like the
part of you
was shaken by me, for sure.
But the thing, and that's the thing, like I see billions of people on Instagram, and when we cross paths, and you stuck out. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, this is one of my more exciting interviews, and that's
that means a lot.
And don't change, and that's exactly it. Because the thing is, growing up in the '90s, every hip hop artist sounded different.
Yes.
The older I got, and the more I DJ'd, I start to notice that I was DJing this music, and these guys all sounded the same at one point. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, that's a no-no. But when I was growing up, you could not sound like the next guy. And now it's like super accepted. And that's when everyone so the hip hop for me was like, I kind of took a step back, like, are you a fan?
Well, I don't even know what genre to put myself in, because I actually buy my beats online, because I don't have, a DJ making them for me. So I actually
I'm going to send you a shitload of producers. I'm going to link you.
Yes. Thank you so much. That'd be
no
wicked.
problem. So you buy them online. Okay.
Yeah. So I buy them online, and when I buy, like, it's trap music or it's hip hop, and then I'm Australian, so it's Oz music, and I rap, because I'm not singing. So I'm like, I call myself an Australian hip hop artist, but then people kind of say, oh, you're not, I guess I'm not hard enough or something. You don't know people's struggles either. You really don't. So.
I don't listen to any of that, man. You need to stand out. It's just
trust me. I'm doing that.
Trust me, you are. Trust me.
It's just all fun too. I try not to take myself too seriously, because then, that's when you're leaving yourself open to criticism and things, and it's like, it's an art form. If you're going to be an artist, you're going to cop it. You can never please everyone, so just do what you love and go from there.
Well, let's be honest. Did you ever walk by a painting and be like, what the fuck is that? And people are like, this is great, and it's a great artist, and you're like, I don't see it. It happens in every form. Music, artist, painting. It does. I don't get it, but someone else does.
Yes.
Yes.
There's this girl, because like some people would say I'm wild, but then I see these girls that are on Instagram that I follow. One chick's called her Instagram Skull of Oxes, and she's wicked. She does like punk rock and rap, and she's wild. She's got her own fans only account now and shit. What she does, I'm like, whoa, and it's impressive, because I guess the people that I've always followed and my inspiration has always been more alternative. So I've followed people like MIA, D'Antwood, Gorillaz even. Gorillaz isn't even an actual band. They pretty much just keep sending the stuff down the line to do their own piece. It's a full production. It's like collaboration starts here, and then it passes on to that person. They could do whatever they want with it, and then the next person, they do whatever they want with it, and then they come up with a song at the end, and it's mad. Like, it's the best music, and I love it. So but definitely not mainstream, a lot of the stuff, but
my favorite part about the podcast is I actually had a chance to link people together.
What you're doing is amazing. It really is.
Because there was a great young artist in the east coast of Canada, and there's another kid that did really well in Canadian Idol, like really well, and he's super talented. And I asked them, like, do you guys know each other? And they're like, no. I'm like, give me a second. This is ridiculous. Like, they live near each other. I was like, link them up. I'm like, you guys need to work together and do something.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Don't get me wrong. Once we get off, I'll link you up with some of these producers. And
well, I've even seen some of the podcasts you've been doing, and you need these platforms because it's to discover that underground music, you know, the stuff that you're not hearing, because people can't always get on TV or radio, or, you know, they've got to find other ways. And I guess, it's people like you, DJ Duss, that are doing it for the world.
But the thing is, the thing is, the radio and stuff like that, it's such a, like, they're not going to let you in. Like, they have their own little, you know what I mean? Like, they held it on for us.
It's exclusive.
So it's like, screw that. You got the internet now. We're like, screw them. Say what you want, do what you want, and let's blast this door open and, you know, get other people on here. That's what I prefer. I don't know. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the people I met. So it's been a fantastic ride so far. But you said this was your 10th performance last night.
Yes, and I was up there with the Burlesque Glamour girls. Hey, Jordan. She's like the owner. But I'm doing dance classes with them because I'm still learning how to. I've been dancing at festivals and in my lounge room and everywhere since I was a kid. But to learn choreography is a whole different thing, you know. And so I go to dance classes with them a couple of times a week. And the drag performers are insane. You know, a lot of these people, like the beautiful drags that I work with, they are definitely alternative and eccentric, and I guess we just get each other, you know. I have so much respect for them, and they sort of took me under their wing as well. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And now I'm performing with them, and they, you know, because I was shy growing up, and you talk to a lot of the queens, and they were exactly the same. And it's a very powerful thing, you know. It's like, why go to fucking therapy when you could, like, for me, when you can just get on stage and shake your fucking shit. Like,
it's funny you said that. I've said it on this air that this is my therapy. This is my therapy too.
It's like therapy. It's a very powerful thing to be like, fuck the world, like, this is me, you know. I love it. And
the podcast is what kept me sane too. I'm telling you, it's my therapy, and I learn from it. I've come to the conclusion after 100 episodes that I really don't know anything. I learn everything from my guest. I'm like,
100 episodes. That's amazing.
I know.
I started going back on them, and I'm like, I'm going to be here for a while.
Oh, yeah. There's some great ones.
He's awesome.
It's funny. It's been fun.
I love listening to you together. It's good. These are a good combo.
We always bicker. He's Bam. I'm not here. I'm not going to bash him because he's not here, but Bam is fake news. He'll come up with his own theories, his own facts, do zero research, and argue with me the whole time. And then once we get off the air, I prove him wrong, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm like, "Why'd you argue with me for 30 minutes?" So he's hilarious.
He's got to win. Got to have the last word. Always.
I want to play a clip that you sent me.
Yes.
So we'll play that right now.
La la, and now say mama. Queens of the castle, ahead of the hustle. 24/7 sweat, suits and muscle. Dressed up on point, you know how we do. Angelic, wild, run with the wolves. So damn, if we wanna show up that rack. So damn, if we wanna throw that ass back. You think us mommies caught amnesia? Baby, we still party in a bather. La la, and now say mama. Get it, girl. N-A-U-G-H-C-Y. 'Cause we like to be. 'Cause we like to be. M-U-M-M-A. Goddesses of the world. Goddesses of the world.
Damn.
It never gets old. It's reliving the moment.
Even though I have questions written down, I have another question.
Go for it.
How many days a week do you go to the gym?
Oh, me. Probably twice a week. I'm doing F45 at the moment, but I dance a couple of times a week. And then I've got this little staffy. He's gorgeous. Actually, he's over in the corner there. I don't know if you can see him. Can you see
Oh
him?
yes, that's so cute.
Yeah, he keeps me fit because every morning he's like wanting to go down the beach for a walk, and so we're always hanging together.
Look at him. He's got the life.
Mommy,
Look
come
at
on,
him.
let's go.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. So what do you remember what show was that?
So that was the Halloween extravaganza. I got to give a shout out actually to Neil and Lady Saint Diva. If you want to go online and check them out, they're absolutely incredible. Miss Lady Saint Diva is a goddamn star. Yeah, it's when I met her, she just changed my whole world. So yeah, I was fortunate enough to be involved in that show. So they do a lot of events and things. And that was actually at the strip club, which was cool.
Oh, nice.
So I haven't performed at a strip club, but I plan to perform at many now. It was a great vibe.
Your first performance.
Yeah.
How nervous. What was the experience like?
Oh, so that was at a Pride night, actually. It was on Ocean Street. It was kind of cool because it wasn't on a stage. It was on the ground.
Okay.
You know, it's a tiny little stage, like so you feel.
I know which ones.
Yeah. You're with the audience more.
Yeah.
Whereas that one that you just showed, then it was very much on a stage, and people are almost in this, setting, and they're sitting and watching, and just it's a different vibe, Yeah, it's it was really cool that first time. That was a song called Shimmy, and my first performance, and it was for a Queen's night. And we had inflatable penises, and we were shimmy. It was my first number called Shimmy for the Dick.
Oh, it's so dope.
Yeah, so we were shimmying on the dance floor, and they all came in their like sparkly shimmy attire. I felt very, loved that night. The fact that everyone had gone to so much effort to be, dancing with me on stage.
Yeah.
So I guess I wasn't up there alone, so it felt amazing. Yeah.
True enough.
And then when I got off, I wanted to do it again. I'm like, let's go again.
The people that don't perform on stage in front of a lot of people will not understand the high that you get for doing this. Like, what I mean?
The rush.
Like there was one club I remember I DJ'd at, and no one wanted to
Tell me
leave.
the club. Where was it?
It was a place called Helsinki. It was downstairs.
Okay.
It was amazing. It was legendary back then. Now with the whole clubs and coronavirus, everything's closing down. And I remembered I was a promoter at this place, and I DJ'd a little bit, and I hated. At the time, I didn't want to DJ because I wanted to be a part of the party. But the DJs I was paying wasn't seeing the vision that I was trying to throw for the party.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
So I stepped in and said, "Listen, I'm gonna get behind there." And I remember the manager said no, and I was like, "I bring you thousands of dollars a week, and you're gonna say no?" I was like, either I do that or I leave. Yeah. Like, go ahead. And
laying down the law, DJ. Just laying down the law.
You have no choice. You have no choice. I do that with everything. Ask my current boss. I do that every day with everything. So they let me in, and I DJ. And I remember, like maybe 2-3 weeks in, the crowd wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
And they stood there, and they're just like, "Yo, keep playing." And I was like, when it's a great crowd, I'll DJ all fucking night. It doesn't bother me. But so she comes around the corner and goes, "Oh, just keep playing." And I remember looking at her. I was like, "Oh, you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I kept DJing. And she's like, 15 years of managing. I've never witnessed this. I can't believe people didn't want to leave. You know what I mean? And that's an excitement and an energy that you'll never get anywhere else, right? So
and it goes fast too. Like time flies when you're up there. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a time warp. It's bizarre.
It is. No one will understand except people have done it themselves.
Yeah. And I want to suggest to artists too to just to go and hustle, like get out there and send some emails and
always
go and talk with people. Just try and get a performance, because they're not going to come and find you.
No.
You've got to go and present yourself, get like a little film together or even if it's just like some professional footage is always better these days.
Of course.
Just getting like a little film reel together or a promo clip or something. And ring up the venue and try and find out the name of the person you're trying to actually deal with, because if you've got that email addressed to someone, they're more than likely going to open it and
of course,
see,
totally
dear Barry, it's like, this one's for me, rather than just hi there to who it may concern or whatever.
I can't stand that when I get those types of emails.
So
I'm like,
it's not personal,
No. You said that to everyone.
Like people have got the power there to just go out and if you talk with people, like I'm definitely an entrepreneur, you don't need to be qualified for things. You just go out and get it. Like you will find your people that will vibe with you, and you will get together and you could create something fantastic just out of nothing. Like, and that's what it's all about. Being in the entertainment world, you're creating something that is out of nothing. It's amazing, and the results you get is fantastic. And that's when you continue that work relationship.
Always.
You know, it's the results and the fun you have.
The first time I was ever a promoter, I couldn't get a gig. It was the first time I thought I was a promoter. That's not something I was. I wasn't yet.
Yeah.
No one.
Words are spells, baby.
No one. No one wanted to let me into a bar. No one. Yeah. And I remember going to this one bar called Babylon's, and I emailed him. And I came to the door. We knocked on his door, at the bar. Yeah. He lets me in. He's like, oh, fuck, just take this day. And I took this one day. And this was a long time ago, and we're still friends till this day. You know what I mean? And it was
so special.
Just by not saying no.
And these nights are so memorable because it's a time in your life. So that Halloween extravaganza, I'll probably never forget that in my whole career life. Everything, it was so special to me, and the vibe of the room, and even just the hours you put in for your costumes and things, like that hat that I wore. I think I stoned that hat. It took me hours, but it's my festival hat, and I'm yet to wear it in the sunshine, so it's going to revamp itself at a festival this year.
But that's another thing people don't understand. The prep work, let's say your performance is 20 minutes. The prep is not 20 minutes.
No, the prep is not 20 minutes.
You know what I mean? Like
nails, lashes, spray tans.
Exactly.
What the queens go through, the tucking and the.
That's exactly. There's more to it than what you just see. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, you just threw a podcast together. No. I
prep, baby.
And I prep, and I also try to get some sort of relationship between me and the person because it's going to make me.
I don't know where you find the time, honey, when you literally to a different clock to me as well. So I really appreciate it.
It was really weird because you and I communicated perfectly fine. Like we lived with each other. It was kind of weird. It's true.
Yeah, it was. We were just vibing. It was cool.
But that's the way. And these are the little extras you need to do. It's not just, okay, you said yes and that's it and get on, get out. That's not it. You don't build things by doing it that way.
You do a good job.
I like to be more like, you know what I mean? I wanted everyone has done a piece of our podcast. I will support forever. Like, it's just the way the family grows, right? So that's the way we like it. It's awesome. So you're currently independent, right?
Yes.
Is this the route that you're planning on going, or you were talking about earlier, or you don't mind being signed or a record label coming?
I would not mind being signed, honey.
I
life
agree.
goals, baby, life goals.
I agree. I totally agree. Because when the whole, you always heard record labels were ripping people off. You heard the stories.
You still hear that now. I heard the Kanye West interview, and he came out of $50 million in debt, and he was talking about all that, and that was a very interesting, to sort of see that as a world famous. Well, he's one of the richest men in the world, so it was interesting to hear his take on the money and how it works.
So it opened our eyes to realize. So if you do get a contract, it is great to open your eyes and be like, okay, don't get too excited. Let's read over this.
Yeah.
Now, when people are like, yo, we're all going to go independent, and Spotify gave us this option, and YouTube. Yeah. And one time I was
we should bring it back to the, sorry to interrupt you there, babe. Totally bring it back to the Rolling Stones days. They used to literally have bins full of cash, and they would employ people just to watch that bin of cash, because when they perform.
It's crazy, yes.
Bins full of cash.
But the thing is, the independent route, after I looked into it, it was like, oh, so you're worried about the record label screwing you. I feel like the independent way is also screwing you too.
Yeah.
Because you're getting pennies on the song. Like fractions of pennies.
I think attitude's everything though. Like I mean, I'm not signed or anything, and this is a lifestyle for me, and I actually don't mind, being independent. It's a powerful experience because you're not having someone make decisions for you, and you're not, you're creating your own path, and I agree. For me. And for what I'm going through, it's not. Whereas I think once you get other people involved, it changes things up, and it's sometimes for the good, sometimes for the worse.
True. Yeah. Because there was friends of ours that were getting signed by a label, but they wanted to change their whole image.
Yeah.
They were like, what? The hair,
But
the
I'm
clothes.
like,
It was like it never happened.
there.
And COVID came around, and the contract never got canceled because it was right around that time. And they were like, it kind of sucked at the time, but it was a blessing in disguise that we never signed with them, right? So it's you gotta watch out.
Is it?
There's these guys from the East Coast that I actually interviewed on here, and I was just listening to the story. I was like, wow, I didn't.
Yeah.
They wanted to change so much, and it's like it was a blessing in disguise that he didn't get signed. He was telling me, but like, so you always, even though there's a label coming, don't get too excited. Figure out what the hell they're gonna do with you, right? Because who's that singer Pink? I remember she wasn't doing what she wanted to do with the record label. Her first 2 albums was exactly what the label wanted her to do. So she left the record label. She started doing her own stuff. So it's a bit iffy. The only positive thing about a label is they're spending their money.
That's right.
On production, right? And on marketing and stuff. Because as an independent artist, you have to do that, right? So that's the only positive thing. But hopefully the world shifts a little bit where record labels could be like, okay, well, they can go independently, obviously. So let's give a little bit. Well, but I would be totally.
My older sister's in marketing. Karina, she's beautiful, and she has a lot of knowledge on this because she's like, you've got to work out who your target audience are, and you've got, and she's all about that, and whereas I'm just sort of just going with the flow, and she's like, no, these are the goals, this is the vision, like,
I get it.
How do you want to achieve that, and where can you play that and get that response and all that, and it becomes a numbers game a lot for people because they're all about streams and that, if a promoter jumps on and you've got such a reach to an audience, of course they're going to get you on board. Whereas if someone doesn't have that, but then when you come to the performing side, if someone's got something where they're getting streams online, doesn't necessarily mean that they've got the performance experience. So it's all, everyone's got their own niche. And
my advice to young artists was, I used to tell them, no matter, even if the show pays you nothing, do it. And I was like, you are going to learn how to do your stage presence.
This is it. It's the learn.
Yes, because you can be the greatest guy in the studio.
Yes.
But you're going to be the shittiest performer on stage after that, and that could just kill you. Right? So I was told, like, learn, go on stage, feel the stage, record it, rewatch it, learn. Everything's a learn. Don't look at it, they're not paying me, or the show's too small. Fuck that.
That'll come. It'll come.
Exactly. Because when the show becomes big and you have no experience on that stage, you are going to look foolish, and you shouldn't do that. So I was always like, do not think your head's too big. Do all these little things. It's going to lead you to success. So I used to tell that to all the young artists. I remember a few guys, I'm not doing this show. There's only 100 people. I'm like, just fucking do it. Like, it used to drive me nuts.
Perform like exactly the same as if it was a full crowd.
Look at it as a beautiful, an intense practice, so whatever. So
I actually created my own show last year. Have you heard of Fringe Festival?
No.
Oh, okay, so it is international. It originated in Scotland.
Okay.
And, it's a fringe festival, so it's got everything from comedians, dancers, acrobats, everything, and then you've got musicians, and it all comes together in a city for a few weeks. Oh, I think it's a week long, and and the whole city comes to life, and you can go to all these acts, but they're super cheap. So someone affordable, someone that usually you might spend $100 on a ticket is slinging them for $10 or, because they're there for Fringe. So they're doing 7 nights in a row at this. It's awesome. It's an awesome opportunity for artists. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm not at the stage where I'm ready to go out and perform yet. So I'll just create my own show and sort of make it. And so it was called Mad Dolls. Yeah. And so I got my beautiful drag queen MC LSD and the burlesque girls, and we all came together and they did dances. And then that was a chance for me to practice my performing, in a nice environment where there's so many extroverted, talented people in one space, and they're all artists, and a lot of them aren't making, a living on what they're doing. They're all doing it for the love. And the street performers are some of the best performers I've ever seen. You get these guys that are beatboxing or in the street. I'm like, how are you not famous? You're amazing, and they just got their hat out, just trying to buy their next beer.
Well, didn't I say that to you? I'm like, why don't you have 1 million followers yet on Instagram?
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on here?
It's an opportunity, isn't it?
I'm like,
just an opportunity to do what you love.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm confused. I don't understand anything sometimes. I'm like,
There's so much talent in the world. It's ridiculous.
no, there isn't. There's people that have absolutely no talent and they have 1.1 million followers. I'm like, what do? You're eating cereal. Like, what the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, into YouTube.
I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm so confused, I'm like,
Yes.
That's why I'm just like, I'm upside down. I don't. That's why I'm always asking questions. I'm always like, why don't you have a? Because I don't understand. But
Yeah.
so you've been doing this for a few years now. What is the biggest struggle for being an artist?
So I'm a mother, as you know, DJ Duss, with the kids. I've got two. One's 5 and one's 7. And they're beautiful, my gorgeous kids, but it's definitely a challenge to juggle the mum life with the art, because you don't just get to have that space where you can create, you've got to create the space to create.
It's true. Yeah.
And it's definitely interesting, and I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it. So this week I had this dream actually the other night that Isla, was growing up too fast, and I woke up, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's an adult, she's only 5. And so the whole day I was like getting together all this tea party stuff, and we had a midweek tea party in the living room.
Yeah.
And
That's
they were
so
having
cool,
whipped cream and all this fun, and I put blindfolds on them, put them in the room and got them all dressed in costume, and then came out and we had a little tea party just on a Thursday.
So cute.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, but I'm trying to create memories for them because she's old enough now. She's getting a long-term memory, and I'm definitely scared of her growing up. I loved the baby years. It was actually easier when they were babies because they didn't have their own lives yet. I could just put them in their little carrier and just, take off or chuck the basket on the bike and just be like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Whereas now they've got like birthday parties, dancing, gymnastics.
It's so true. It's so true.
I've got to do school pickups and drop-offs, and like they've got their own little schedules happening.
You're like, your schedule's busier than mine. What's going on here?
Like your life is so on.
Am I invited to these parties? No, damn it.
They're beautiful though.
I can see that being definitely a struggle.
Are you a dad, babe?
No, not yet.
No
Not
babies.
yet. No. Babies,
I love Tibet. That's cool.
The baby things. People talk
It's
about
like,
older babies.
ladies.
Don't get that started. No.
Yes.
I already hear from a few of the friends' wives already. I was like, no, let's not get that started. No. Oh yeah, don't get that started. This is gonna get edited now, So, is there any artists or producers that you would love to collab and work with in the future?
In Australia, there is so much talent. I'm always listening to all these artists. There's this platform called Triple J Unearthed, and it shows all the underground music that hasn't really made it to the mainstream stage yet. And it's awesome. Like, you've got all the genres too. Yeah, and it's awesome. But I one of the girls I recently started listening to, TK Meister, and she's a wicked artist. Yeah, and she's when I start hearing new music, sometimes I just become obsessed with it. I'm like the number one fan. It's just awesome, not playing in my house at the moment. So I would love to do something with her. Yeah, she's awesome. But yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of people out there that are just going hard, Yeah.
I just
it's become a full life for them, and I don't know. Can you imagine how many people are getting inboxed every day? People just trying to collaborate, like trying to.
I can see that. Yeah. I found when we were younger, I found it was so hard to get a producer to make beats. It was so hard. Like, you would find that one guy, you almost didn't even tell anybody. You're like, where'd you got that beat? I'm like, I'm not telling you. You know what I mean? Because it was so. Now I found when I start talking to a lot of the artists that they're getting emailed their beats because they're making their own collabs, right? I caught up because I was like, why they? Because back where we were, we had to buy a beat $100, $200, whatever the case may be. Now they're giving these beats for free, and I was like, why the fuck would they do that? It's because now they want it. I don't know exactly how it works, but something to do with if your song pops off, they actually get a percentage of it. You know what I mean? And I get it because sometimes as an artist, you don't have money to buy all these beats, and two. there would be nothing worse than selling a beat to someone and watching them get extremely famous off of it.
Oh, totally. That's where the contracts come in, because I'm all about this, because like I said, I buy beats online.
Yes.
Any DJs that want to, just put their hand up and send me some stuff.
Exactly. No, don't worry. I have
You
that.
should remix some of my stuff. Some of the remixes of music can be better than the original version.
That's true. That is true. That is absolutely true.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be sending your people your way. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I respect it, because I'll pay the money to get an exclusive track, and I get that the exclusive is meaning, and it comes in levels. So if you buy a beat, you can have unlimited streams. That's what I'm after: unlimited streams and performing rights. But when it comes to being the only person with the beat, I actually don't mind if it's just mine, because, like I just said, some remixes are better than the original version. Or you've got people that are in different countries that are singing stuff in different languages, and they're like, oh yeah, but someone's going to have the same song, and it's like, yeah, but you're not going to have the same story, the same vocals, the same language, like. So I'll buy an exclusive beat to a point, and then I'm sort of like, oh well, that's enough. Yeah. And it's more because it jumps from like $350 to $1,500.
I know.
And it's because they can't resell it. I get that. It's like, once their beat is exclusive, they take it down, and it's like,
I know
that. It's like, you got to pay for this shit. This is a quality beat. It took me a while.
I get it. Because I was always like, because there was
respect for the art. I respect the art. I do.
Who got fucked over by a beat? It was Little Nas X. Remember Little Nas X, that Old Town Road song he came out with?
Oh yes.
That beat, he bought it for $30.
Are you kidding me? See?
No.
And how did he get the quality and stuff? Like, because you do also pay for that. You get the stems, and all that. If you buy it exclusive, you get the stems, so you can pull it apart and remake it a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff, which I obviously can't do, but my producer would.
Send you a YouTube link of the Thong song. There's actually an 18-minute little documentary about that song alone, and how that beat was supposed to be for Michael Jackson, and it got it got sent to Cisco, and Cisco's like, I want that. They're like, it's not for you. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, I want that beat. And then and then he ended up taking the stems out and getting other the actual violin guy to come in to do it. And the guy that was doing the beat was just like at first he was like, what the fuck, he's ruining my shit, but he actually made it that much better, right? So it's a cool 18-minute little video about that, just the beat itself.
Please do. Send me.
It's so cool. So now you've been doing this for a while.
Yes.
You are, I think you're amazing. You're gorgeous.
Thank you.
But with all these positive things comes some hate. Right? It always is. There's always, as positive as it is, there's always going to be now how you handle
that hate just feeds me, babe.
Okay, is that how it is? Because social media, because people they love to hide behind a computer, a cell phone.
Oh, totally.
A stupid comment.
The trolls. Well, for instance, I get songs out of it. So there's people that are like, oh, how can you do what you do when you're a mum? And so I wrote a song, Naughty Mama.
Yes, you did. Yes.
You were the inspo, baby. Thank you very much.
I just found it's so negative that it
can be really dark, and it's hateful. And I think that I don't really pay attention to it, because for every one person that says that, there's another 30 people or 100 people, I don't even know, that you're actually inspiring. Because I've got rappers that I know that are wicked rappers, and since I've been doing what I'm doing, they've actually booked studio time, and they've got laid tracks,
Nice.
They're like, shit, if she's doing it, no experience, just getting out there, why can't I? And so even last night, I got this beautiful little fan mail from this girl. Her name's Jess. She's gorgeous. She's got cerebral palsy. She wanted to meet me at the festival, the Mardi Gras festival. Yeah. And so I went out and met her, and we're getting photos and hanging out. Before I went on stage, they tucked this little saucy wallet in my bra. And they're like, and I opened it up, and it said, from all the team, fucking kill it, Tiggy. That is more powerful than someone just going, you're shit. It's like, fuck off.
Well, first of all, I'm the biggest.
Smile over here, and you're giving me a frown. Who am I going to turn to?
I'm the biggest criticizer of myself. So when people are like, yo, can I give you some tips? I'm like, trust me, there's nothing that's going to be more harsh than I am on myself, first of all. So it's like, good luck with that. But
you do. You got to give it. You got to put that little bit of yourself in there. Shit, it's like, that's your individuality. That's your claim. No one can take that from you. So.
The thing is, I'm a bit. okay, this might sound mean. So everyone that wants to start a podcast, I lead them in every right direction. This is what I bought. This is what I did. This is what I. But I do it
by listing others. I love this. We were talking about this.
But I'm gonna tell you, I don't do it because I want them to succeed. I want everyone to succeed because, like, I think everyone's platform is different, anyways.
Yeah.
Do you know really why I want them to really do it? I want them to realize doing 100 episodes with a full-time job is fucking hard. Yeah. And I want someone else to be like, shit, how the fuck did he do that? Because I've seen people do 5 episodes and I listen to all 5 and I support them.
Yes.
And there's no 6th or 7th episode. You can see that they didn't have the time to put into it or content. And it's like, it's fucking hard. It was like, and that's the main, because it looks easy.
Oh, yeah, congratulations, because
it looks easy. Look, because there's going to be someone watching this being like, oh, he's talking to some beautiful, talented woman from Australia. Look how hard this is. That's what they're going to say right now. That's exactly what they're going to say. Oh yeah, it's so hard. That's what they're going to say.
Tough gig. What's in your bottle there, DJ?
But it's the time but I had to, I want to listen to your music. I want to check out your videos. You know what I mean? There's more to it. Yeah. And then the thing is, like,
it's the behind the scenes and all that too.
Exactly.
And the connection. Like we talked for a while before this.
That's right. Good. And that there's more to it than just and I will never shut anybody down on how to do it. I won't I'll tell my struggles, how I did it wrong the first time. What I end up buying. And then support them, and then you just watch them go, fuck this, it's not for me.
The outlay cost alone would just like scare people, like, fuck that.
It's like too much work.
That's way too much money you've invested right there.
Oh yeah, this alone here.
Scary amount of equipment costs a lot of money.
It is. It's gone to a point where, like, even the our friend of mine.
I've got to get some of that lighting that you've got there, though. You're looking so much better than me right now with the light.
First of all, that's impossible. That's first of all. No,
I disagree.
I just got bright light bulbs. That's all I got. I got bright light bulbs. I used to have a Scarlett interface. Okay, I bought this thing. I plugged my mic in, and I swear to God, if you watch some of the videos, I don't know which ones. At one point, my shit would freeze. My Scarlett would freeze my computer, and then Bam would have to take over the fucking thing, and he would notice that I'm frozen because I take my headphones off, so he would know that I'm. That's it for me. The mic doesn't work. Drove me nuts. So 2 of my best friends end up buying me this big mixer made by Zoom.
Oh, the love.
Right away. Like, they just came to, like, we can't watch you freeze anymore. Like, we just hear you and you're like, what? And this thing has been phenomenal. It's been a workhorse. I can actually plug my phone in. We can actually take phone calls with this thing now. Like, it's taken the show to another level.
So it changed your world. It pretty much changed your world.
It took the game to another level, and I've always been grateful with it. And it was like something I was just like, when I saw it, I was like, you guys know how much this cost, right? Like, I was like, and I'm super thankful, and it's changed. It's definitely changed because I want one of
those people. They sound lovely.
They're great. They're great. They have 3 little boys.
Apps for life.
They have 3 little boys, and they're the cutest little guy. They're great family, great supporters. I really appreciate it. So that changed a little. But again, like, this wasn't cheap. The laptop's not cheap. The microphone's not cheap. You know what I mean? So
that's so true.
And it sucks because they're like, so what do you use? I'm like, I use this. The guy goes, shit, I wanted to do a podcast with my phone. You know what I mean? And you're like, you can. I'm not going to tell you you can't.
Exactly.
But I won't, but you can. Yeah. So there's a difference.
And you never go backwards. You notice once you get elevated like that, you can't go back.
Yeah.
You know, you're used to the quality, and you become accustomed to these great things.
It's funny you said that because
I've been moving up in the world.
You're hilarious because I've been looking at cameras. Like, I've been like, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this one, but I'm looking at cameras now. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? So
that's good though. No, it's investing the time.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention that because I'm always reading books and, all about inspiring people. It's what you listen to and who you surround yourself with is, what your life becomes. So
absolutely.
I'm listening to this amazing girl at the moment. If anyone wants a good podcast, her name's Chloe McKenzie. Mm-hmm. She's unreal. So I'll be like, just put my headphones on in the morning and she just motivates you. Sometimes you get a little bit of doubt in the morning, and then she'll give you that uplift and you're like, yeah, got this. She's awesome.
That's awesome.
But some of the books I read I've been reading is like concentrate on the one thing. Because we like what we talk about with artists, a lot of the time you're trying to do so many things at once,
Mm-hmm.
You're wanting to sing or record and write, and you're trying to collaborate or go on to your next gig or in networking and everything. But it's like, if you focus on that one thing that's like your point of difference. Some people are just super talented and they can just do it all. That's awesome. But for me, I'm really trying to just focus on my writing at the moment. And if you do it every day, that's what's going to improve, you know? And that's what you're going to get out of it. So it's like, I'm really trying to focus on that one thing, and also getting your 10,000 hours up. I've heard that if you don't do 10,000, you'll be a professional if you've done 10,000 hours. And I added it up on a calculator. I'm like, because of the whole juggling with the kids, I'm like, how many hours a week do I have to do 10,000 hours? And I was like, great. So in 15 years, I will be professional.
Oh my God. I don't even want to know.
It's
That's
different
hilarious,
now.
though.
Yeah. Have you heard that saying before, though?
No.
10,000 hours? Yeah.
No.
I guess it's because it's the time you spend, you devote to something. And I know a lot of friends that have been in business for 10 years and they're slaying it, because how can your business survive 10 years unless you don't know some knowledge? And 10 years, it's like, come on, you've put in the blood, sweat and tears.
That's an awesome saying. I love it. That's an awesome saying, because I'm looking at it, it actually is true. You know what I mean?
I feel like, so I'm trying
because you know what I mean? Like you look at sports or something, it's like you're a pro athlete once you get into the professionals. But I mean, how do you judge it on our tip, right? So 10,000 hours, I could definitely see that. So if you wanted to open, if you were opening a show for somebody, who would you love to open one for?
Oh my God. I've seen some killer openers. Like, one of the best gigs I ever went to is the Foo Fighters.
Ooh,
do you know who they had as an opener? Jack Black from Tenacious D.
Get out. Get out.
I was in the front row.
I would have never guessed that. No way.
It was amazing. And like, he's an actor. I know him as an actor.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they're just mates and they've gone on tour together,
Well,
and
he has that movie, The School of Rock, right?
Yeah, yes. And
so he loves music.
He's got millions of followers. You should follow him on Instagram. He's hilarious.
He
just makes me laugh daily. But he's a perfect example of someone that can be an opening act, right? Like he the Foo Fighters played for 3 hours that night, like hard music, rock and roll. Because I'm from, my dad was lived in the 60s and he's an ex-drummer. And so I grew up listening to like the Stones and Akadaka and like a lot of even just some of the Led Zeppelin and and then I started following Wolf Mother, which is an Australian band. Have you heard of Wolf Mother?
No.
Oh, okay. So they sound like Led Zeppelin and like
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, definitely check out Wolf Mother. But I've definitely got a punk rock upbringing. We used to listen to a lot of like Korn and System of a Down. Yeah, all that. And so one of the chicks that inspired me actually was the lead singer from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, another band you might need to see. Yeah. Told you, it's like
I told you this show. I learned stuff on here.
Music that she was amazing. She used to get on stage in like a full bodysuit, like cut like a full skin bodysuit, and just do like donuts on the floor with a microphone, just screaming. That's the sort of performing I want to do. I think she was in a boxing ring. It wasn't even a stage. It was a boxing ring that could just, fill it. Oh, just some of the stuff that's possible is just out of this world,
That is crazy. I like that.
Yeah.
There's a question I ask everybody, every artist.
Yes, please
here.
do. Tell
Give
me
your top 5, because you named a lot throughout the show.
I know, because I'm totally into music.
And I love it. I love it. I love how you named a lot.
Top 5 ever.
Any type of artist. It could be rap, singing, rock, anything.
It's so hard. So I'm definitely a fan of Gwen Stefani from No Doubt.
Oh yeah,
sure. She's wild. Like I was saying, she's got punk rock.
Yeah,
and she's wild with all the costumes and she was the era that I grew up in, because I am an 80s model. 87 baby. And so she was definitely in the 90s, and that was cool in the early 2000s. So but I would probably say yes, it would definitely be Gwen Stefani. Even Eminem. Eminem's sick. Yep. Most famous white rapper in the world.
At one point, the most famous ever.
Who else? It's hard because like top 5. Hey, God, who am I going to say? I've got like there was like Missy Elliott and TLC that I grew up with.
Yeah.
You know, like all that sort of stuff. And then Nirvana, you know, so I've got such a mix.
It's all around that time. I feel you though. I feel you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put that much pressure.
I love 50 Cent as well. 50 Cent stuff.
50 Cent came out.
Yes, 50 Cent when I was younger. I was on the dance floor dancing all this stuff. So.
We had Ottawa, the capital of Canada, finally comes out with a hip hop station. Finally.
Yeah.
It was like forbidden forever. And 50 Cent drops his first album, and it's on the radio all the time.
All the time.
And literally, this hip hop station lasted about 8 months.
Oh,
they turned it into something else. They called it the new Hot 89.9, and it ended up being just like pop music after that. And we were just like, what?
That was the plan the whole time. He was just the front man.
You know what? At the end of the day, it's probably sponsorships. We all know how it works, right? It's all about money at the end of the day. So it was just one of those. But 50 Cent was on the radio 24 hours a day. I was like, my God. Yeah, he was on fire when he first came out too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I want to get into 10 random questions to get people to know you a little bit better. So the first one would be, who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh, my first one. Oh, I don't know.
Or your biggest one.
My biggest one. I'm into Marky Mark at the moment. I just saw Ted the other day.
That's an amazing movie.
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg,
It's funny. Men seem to get, more attractive sometimes with age. It's
some
true.
do, yes. Yeah.
Yes. And so,
Mark Wahlberg.
I love watching him. He's funny. And he's got $300 million.
I know. It's a little, still a little bit of money.
Nice
Just a little bit. So what was your first job ever?
I'm going to say a girl there as well, though, actually, going back to the celebrity crush, because I used to be obsessed with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
She is amazing. But these days it's Margot Robbie, if anyone's seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes.
Yeah, the chick in that. She's gorgeous.
Yes.
She's an Australian actress.
For sure.
She's absolutely stunning. So they're my celebrity crushes. But yes, go on.
Okay,
DJ, ask me the next one.
Your first job ever, your first paycheck.
Oh, so I used to work actually at a little food store. It was cool. I was like just, selling fruit and cigarettes and chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on $6 an hour, but it was only at like the end of my street. So I just hopped on my bike. And
that's awesome.
I still remember my dad took a photo of me with my first paycheck and I'm like kissing it like, the money.
Oh man. My first job was McDonald's. My first job.
Oh yes, McDonald's. Yeah.
McDonald's first job. It was I think our minimum wage was $6.40 an hour.
Yeah, it was low.
It was just like,
but it was a little funny actually because I was only young. Like my dad, I didn't even want the job. He just told me one day that I had a job. I'm like, what? I'm still in
had
school.
a job.
Yeah, he sort of come home and said, so you're working at the corner shop now in the evenings, by the way.
Wow.
I was like, oh, cool. And I was doing big hours. I was still doing school and I was working like 20 plus hours a week at this little food store. I think I was underage too. The legal age is 14 or something. I was only like, I don't know. Anyway, it was interesting.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I was a dental nurse for years. I used to, and look at my teeth. Everyone's like, oh, you got nice teeth. I was like, yeah, well, I was in the industry.
Everyone in the industry is beautiful.
We were in the industry of smiles for nearly a decade.
And so now that you've been in the teeth industry, do you criticize people for what they do with their teeth?
No, not at all. But I do notice. It's the first thing I look at, 100%.
People are always like, do you floss? Do you do this? I'm like, yes, I try my best. I'm like, I do all that.
Oral health, baby. Yeah.
So
but that was cool. That was cool.
Name me one thing that you still need to do that's on your bucket list.
Oh my God. So I wanted to actually, when my first trip overseas, I was looking at going and doing some trekking in Nepal.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, you've never been to the cold and you've never done high altitudes. How are you going to do this? So I was like, and I got it's like, I'm going to go to Everest Base Camp. What's wrong with that? You can see the goals I set myself. I'm like,
yeah, but that's it. That's exactly it. Why not, right?
I aim very high.
That's the way to do it.
And so I haven't actually done it. And I'm glad I haven't because now I've got a 7-year-old son. Now I'm looking at doing it with him, when he's old enough to be able to go trekking up there to Nepal. And I have been close to those that region before in India. When I was dental nursing, I actually did some refugee camp work. So I worked over at the Tibetan refugee camps over there. It's been there since the 60s, near where the Dalai Lama is, and just did a bit of work, dental nursing. And then I went to Thailand and worked at Sot there. That was for the Burmese refugees, doing some teeth. It was all volunteer. It was awesome, but I got to see how picturesque where you're from. Where it snows is just so clean and pure and gorgeous, you know.
Don't get me wrong. It is. The only complaint we have here with the cold is it feels like it's just 1 month too long. Like near the end, you're like, just leave already. Like it's just like we had 2 days of beautiful weather. 2 days of beautiful weather, and then it froze the third day. We're like, don't tease us, and then leave.
Sleet there?
Do we get what?
Sleet. It was something they had in London. It was like, you know, it's like raining ice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't happen often, but 1 year, I want to say, people are going to get mad, probably 96, 97. We had a thing called the ice storm, where it actually rained and froze everything and like knocked down power for 2-3 days.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I remember like school was done.
You have to dig out your cars from the driveway, you know?
Sometimes.
So you have like the special allocated shovel next to your car.
Well, we have a snowblower. It's like
snowblower. Of course.
Yeah.
We're not home days anymore. Like
my friend Tora, she lived in Arizona and LA, right? Her whole life. So she's like, I want to come see the snow. And I was like, no, you don't. And I'm like, we have a snowblower. It's kind of a lawnmower, but for snow. And she started laughing. I'm like, it throws the snow over there. I'm like, oh my God.
It would be life. Like,
don't get me wrong. During Christmas, New Year's Eve, beautiful time to have that snow. It gets that Christmas feel. But after that, get out. Just leave. Like, it's just
disappear.
Yeah, and then
I built enough snowmen.
and then all of a sudden it's like, I live in Australia and it's hot. I'm like, oh, what am I doing here? Yeah. But anyways. Well, so
we all want what we don't have, though. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I'll bring you some snow when I come visit.
Yeah, I'll bring you some drought.
You know, exactly. So give me one word that describes your music style.
Oh, I would have to say freaky. It's a bit different, you know. I
like it.
I'm not trying to sound like anyone else. I'm definitely got an authentic sound. Like I said, I can't even categorize myself sometimes. I'm
That's
like,
good.
It's got a hip hop beat. It's hip hop. But then I'm like, but I'm singing. But you know, I don't know.
It's funny you said that, because we had I don't remember who was on, but there's someone on, and him and Bam are talking about how they got to stop putting things in a box.
That's
like
right.
Hip hop and rock. It's nice to break through that barrier, and that's what you're saying, right? It's like, I'm a bit of this and that. That box thing shouldn't exist anymore, you know. Like they were talking about winning like the best hip hop. What was it? Like like an award, like the hip hop album of the year. He's like, there shouldn't be that. It should be the best album of the year, like, or you know what I mean? Something like to take these boxes out. And I was like, at first I was disagreeing with them, because that's what I do sometimes. And they were right. They don't know that. I'm just telling you that they were right, but they were right. They should break through that box, and you're definitely one of those artists that actually is breaking through and keep
having
doing
fun
that.
with it. It's the main thing. But it's got to give you joy and pleasure, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite TV show?
At the moment, I've been watching.
Or maybe ever.
Or ever. Okay, ever.
Yeah.
You'll laugh because they're both in New York. It's Sex in the City and Seinfeld.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, those are classics.
Yeah, and I feel like I've already been there because I've watched so many of these episodes. Like these TV series ran for over a decade. Do you know what I mean? Like if you started watching them now,
it's so true.
Yeah, and I used to love watching them growing up, so that was cool. Yeah, but at the moment I'm watching some. I've been watching Bridgerton on Netflix.
Yes,
it's real fairy tale. It's set way back, you know.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Horse and carriage, and when all the women are all proper, and it's so fair. Love it. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's cool that they can revamp all that.
Yeah, no, it is super cool. So this one, this is another thing for me. This is a good question. So besides performing in music and that, what other hobbies do you have?
So as I mentioned, I like camping. But then I also do actually love the beach. So we live near the beach. We're only 2 streets from it.
Yeah.
I've grown up around the ocean and that. So, yeah, you'll always find me at the beach. It's nice down there. I love it.
Yeah, I could imagine. I could imagine.
World, you know.
So
you feel your whole body relax though, because like I said, I lived in London, and when we got to the Greek islands for a trip, I just felt everything just, wow, I'm back near the water again, you know, because when you live in a city, it can be quite dense and there's no water around. It's different feel. Unless you're in Sydney. Sydney's actually right near the ocean. There's all the bays and it's absolutely stunning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was funny when I was in London, I was dental nursing there, and one of the guys I worked with, he said I was going to Brighton Beach for like a little trip, and he's like, "Oh, tell us what the water's like." I'm like, "What?" I thought he was joking because it's only 3 hours on the train. He's like, "For real? He'd never been there." I was like, "You're kidding me?" They call it the seaside. I was like, "Oh my God, you've never been to the seaside?" So he's literally been living in this. I mean, I'm sure he flies out. He's a dentist. He's on a wicked wage. Like,
yeah, exactly. So you can,
never been to the seaside. I was like, "Holy shit,
that's hilarious."
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Now, we said we figured out your favorite shows. What was your favorite movie?
They're old school. It's like, it's telling my age when I say that.
Trust me. we trust me. We interview the kids sometimes, and they're like, they name something like, it's like, I have no idea. I'm like, I don't. Yeah. You don't know what that is? I was like, no, I don't know what the hell that is. So I know what you're talking about. So what's your favorite movie?
Oh, my favorite movie of all time, Angelina Jolie, Gone in 60 Seconds, 100%.
Wow.
You know, when they steal all the cars and she's got the sexy dreadlocks. And like,
I know.
Yeah, I was so glad with that when I was a kid. But then I also love like all the classics like Forrest Gump and, you know, anything with comedians in. I'm a big Jim Carrey fan as well. Yeah. He makes me laugh so hard. Like, yeah.
Jim could be funny.
Yeah, Jim Carrey. He's hilarious. And it's so funny because either you love someone or you hate them. This is what we're talking about. So I feel like I'm one of those personalities. People will either love me or hate me. And people I know absolutely can't stand, you know, his movies. And then I love them. And other people that I don't vibe with, or even Jerry Seinfeld, you know. I think
some people hate him, but I think he's hilarious too. Yes.
Yeah. But some people don't get the comedy, you know. They'll prefer something more like Will Ferrell or whatever. Yeah.
I get that. So we're here. We're in the COVID world.
Yes.
It's been hitting us for about a year now. So
I know it's hectic.
It's crazy.
More hectic for you guys because we're like on an island, so we've just shut off all the borders and things like healed a bit more than with all these borders open.
Between you and I think they're exaggerating here. That's just my opinion. I think it's just more they love the fact that they can say go home by 9. I think that's just my opinion. I don't even think it's as bad as it seems. They're just like the control's been. They showed that we were sheep and we were very easy to maneuver. That's just my opinion on it.
More like the Western world's just controlled by the screens. They figured that out. It's it's the news and it's everything.
They love it.
It's controlled by it. If you look on your phone, there's an actual screen time thing that you can see the amount of times that people pick up a phone every day. It can be like 200 times a day. People are picking up their phones.
Yep.
Like. How can you be experiencing the world if you're picking up your phone 200 times a day?
That's just my opinion of it. Over here, it's exaggerated. That's a whole nother topic about fucking what I think about it over here. At first, it was like, cool. So be safe, do this. Now it's just like, wow. And we're shutting down. We're opening up. I don't know. They have colors here. A certain color means we're open for a certain time. I don't even know what it is anymore. I stopped putting up the news because it's the same bullshit every time. But talking about COVID, a lot of people have been pro and negative towards this. Are you a yes or a no to their vaccination?
Well, I've vaccinated my kids, so I feel like
You have to, of course. Now, I get it.
But then with this, it's different. I mean, I definitely have to vaccinate because, like, I want to travel, and they're not going to let you cross borders if you don't have it, and that's how they'll get me because I'll be like, whatever.
That's exactly what I said. I said the exact same thing.
I love traveling, and
they're going to prevent me. They're going to prevent me from traveling, and they're going to be like,
it'll be like a mark on your passport. Vaccinated.
I said this, and I was like, sign me up. Let's do this. Get me.
Otherwise, that would be a definite no.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think they're going to use something you love, right? So it's like you don't want you're against the vaccination. They'll be like, well, your kids can't go to school, or you can't go shopping, or you can't go to this. They're gonna pick something, or you can't visit your family. They're gonna pick something that you're like, fuck, I got no choice.
Well, they've done it in Australia, as in there's benefits, and people don't get benefits from the government unless their kids are vaccinated, and so people still want to get their benefits for childcare support or whatever it is.
See, they're holding.
So there's always that control. But at the same time, it's sort of scary because you also don't know what's real and what's fake. There's all this fake news, and it's quite scary because you hear about all the deaths, and just the numbers alone make you want to cry. And then you're like, oh my God, vaccine's so important. But then you think about all these other things you hear on the side, and you're like, oh my God, it's all the front. Like you hear doctors, their own little personal stories, trying to put it out to the world, the truth, and it's so confusing. So.
Yeah, because I interviewed someone.
Scary times. I don't want to say that I'm totally against it because obviously I actually have friends that had to say goodbye to their loved ones over a screen, on their deathbeds and things. And I think that's just so painful when they could have just been at their bedside or whatever. And it's just because of these times. And I feel for them. So I don't want to say that I'm totally against it because I get that people are definitely getting sick. And let's move on. It's too much.
But the thing with this stuff is, I find it's there's two extremes, right? There's the people
that's right.
You need to get it to save the planet, and then there's a guy there's a guy next to me that telling me that they're putting microbots in these things and they're going to track us down.
I know. We ought to show up on a screen,
I'm just like,
stuff. Cool.
So I'm like, oh my God, man. I'm like, relax,
Yeah.
Unless you're doing some super illegal stuff, don't worry about nothing. But whatever. So that's what I mean. Like people have went both sides extreme. I've been trying to stay in the middle to see what was going on, but on both sides. So next question: what's your favorite food to eat?
Oh, I've been obsessed with these. Have you heard of poke bowl before?
No.
Poke bowls. They're so I love sushi, and it's like a pulled apart nori roll. And so you go into these they're called poke bowls or poke bowls, and you go in and you can choose your toppings. So you can have swordfish or tuna or, mushrooms or whatever. And then you choose if you have greens or quinoa, and then you put whatever you want with it. And then they always do crunch on top. So you can have, the crunchy onion, fried onions or whatever, or little wasabi peas. And then you put your sauce on. Oh, they're the best. And they're meant to be healthy. I think they are, apart from the sauce and the quantity. Do you want a small or a large? I'm like, large.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's beautiful. It's super fresh.
No, that sounds fucking delicious.
To buy all those ingredients would cost a fortune, so to have all that stored freshly in compartments in your fridge.
It's true.
So you go there, it's just a delight.
It's funny because I'm a big fan of sushi, and
you will love it. Look it up. I bet there's one near you.
I will look it up.
Maybe you could start the franchise because they're a hit here.
It sounds delicious. I went to.
That's where sorry to interrupt you.
No, anytime.
Goldberg's 300 million comes from. He has a burger chain, right?
Exactly.
You got to have avenues of wealth, avenues as an entrepreneur. You can do the poke bowls and the podcast, baby.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Podcast is at night anyways, right? So we're good to go. I go to Dominican, and it's a friend's wedding. They're doing the destination wedding. We get down there.
Oh, wow.
I'm at a 5-star resort in Dominican, and believe it or not, the food's shit. The food is shit. It was actually shit. I was like, come on, man. I paid a lot of money. I'm expecting. I've been to a 4-star resort where the food's been better. But I find a sushi guy. He's there for that one day. He comes every Wednesday, and he's making fresh sushi. So I wait in line, and I waited forever. He was so slow. And I'm next, and this little girl comes and cuts me off with 2 plates, and I'm like, but I couldn't do it. She was a little girl, right? And then she didn't know to wait in line, right? So I'm just looking at her like, oh my God. It was so delicious and fresh, but I couldn't go back and get more because the lineup was too goddamn long. But but the little girl just cut me off.
Using her charms at such a young age, just sit there in here.
She's like, he's not gonna say nothing. Yeah, who does he? Don't worry about him. So we talked about a lot of your influences and music and stuff. So
I don't think I mentioned enough artists though, because honestly, I've got this really big fan of the dance and DJ industry.
Yeah.
I went to Burning Man a couple of years back, and we've got Diplo and Major Lazer and we've got this amazing DJ from Australia called Flume. Have you heard of Flume?
Yes, I have actually. Yes.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yes,
he recorded everything he did on an iPad in his bedroom and become world famous. Like, it was insane. And Rufus and all these awesome, even like Golden Features, like some wicked, The Prodigy, like
yeah.
I've got this massive so when I talk about my style, no wonder my style's a bit freaky when I've got an old rocker of a dad and then I'm like into this, hip hop growing up and punk scene and then love all these DJs as well, and we'll book all the tickets to all the festivals for the DJs. Like, so it's an eclectic mix of music.
So you technically don't have a favorite style.
No, I really don't. And this is why the hip hop industry because people live and breathe it. You know what I mean? Yes. They live and breathe the hip hop world. That's all they love rap artists, and they're listening to it, on their headphones when they go to sleep, and they wake up and it's playing nonstop, and then they're writing and rhyming, and all their friends are into it. And it's like, and then I'm surrounded by all these alternative people that have multi-talented artists, and it's all good. Like, but I can definitely understand why my stuff's a little bit more,
I love it. Don't worry about it.
Alternative.
Did you want to play? I got a game called Versus. You
want to play?
Let's do it. All right,
ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
All right, so here in Versus, we pop up either two things or two artists, and we just tell me which one you prefer.
I haven't seen this before. Bring it on.
All right, so the first one, we have Lady Gaga versus Britney Spears.
Lady Gaga, for sure.
See, at first in the careers path, right away, I find Britney made a bit of an impact. But I mean, longevity and wide range, what Lady Gaga's pulled off over her career, I think hands down. I've had debates with other people.
I love her.
She's absolutely amazing. The next one would be Rihanna versus Beyonce.
That one's so much tougher. I'm going to say both. You can't make me choose. You can't make me. I love them both. Beyonce and Rihanna, they're both incredible artists.
I always lean towards Beyonce just because I'm older.
Yeah, actually, when you say that, the song that she's just released, that Beyonce. Have you heard it?
I go back to her days.
Sicker, that song. Like,
I go back to the fact that she killed it also with Destiny's Child.
Yes,
So
and she's done stuff with Lady Gaga before.
You
remember they were in that car that was out
yes.
Bill or
Telephone?
the Pussy Wagon or something.
Oh, yes. I
remember
playing that song. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was sick.
All right, the next one. Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj.
Cardi B all the way. Nicki Minaj can just come off as a bit of a fucking bitch sometimes. She is precious. And I grew up with girls. Like, I know bitches, but she's next level. I've just seen her on a few TV shows and stuff, and Cardi B just seems more like down to earth.
It's funny you say that because I find an interview could also
change their opinion.
I was a big fan of Tory Lanez.
Okay.
Tory Lanez, probably 5 hours from where I am,
Yeah.
Canadian guy, great R&B singer, great remixes. I watched him on Drink Champs on Noriega's show, and I felt so embarrassed to watch him. He was trying to act like a thug, like act. You can tell it was it was so dude, they're just interviewing you. Just answer the questions, tell some stories. And I was like, you're such a loser. Like, I was like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. There was something about I usually watch from start to finish. It was one of the only podcasts I was just like, forget it. Like
what's one of your podcasts though? Do tell one of the ones, because you're a podcaster. Like, what do you recommend? Who do you look up to with your podcast?
It's funny. Like I'll go way back to even like Howard Stern.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? I'm not even a huge fan of the stuff he does, because I find when a woman comes on the show, he's too like, oh, show me your tits, or oh, you haven't. I'm like, dude, like, there's so much of this person besides. We all know she's a good looking. We look like. I don't understand how the Me Too movement didn't hit him, but there's some aspects of how he does the delivery that I look at. Drink Champs was another one with Noriega, which I found I enjoyed watching it, but he gets so annihilated on the show that I was like, that
I'm like, how weird.
no, these guys are just shots and shots and shots. So I find the first half of the podcast is doing well, and the second half is a total disaster. Yeah. So I'm always learning when I'm listening to these podcasts. The guests obviously are going to be what's going to attract me to your podcast, right? Yeah. A guest, interest.
I don't know. You do a good job, babe.
And then I want to learn, like, I want to be like, what's the pros and cons of this one? What would I change of this? Or
yes.
But there's, I like the comedic ones. There's the two comedians, the two bears, one cave guys. They're fucking hilarious. So there's stuff like that. But the thing is, like, so usually what I do is I have it on YouTube, and I got the YouTube subscribe. I don't know, the YouTube Premium, I think it's called, so where I can download them and listen to them at work, right? So there's a few podcasts out there that keeps me entertained, and you know what I mean? Believe it or not, I don't watch the news, so some of these podcasts is what keeps me going, like what's going on around the world. I'm like, what's that? They're my news source.
It's your inspiration. It's like the things you're watching, your visual things become your world, you know?
True, very true.
It's like what replays and all the lessons. And,
all right, cool. I got another verses for you. So once you're performing, and you make it big, would you rather have an outdoor stage or an indoor arena?
Okay. I've only performed in indoor at the moment. I haven't done an outdoor yet. I guess when I've been performing for my outdoor is when I've done my film clips.
Yeah.
And I guess there's been a lot of people walk past, and some of my girlfriends like, I don't know how you do that, you know? It's like, you just in character, and I've done it before.
Everyone always, like, so far on this show, we've had it on about 4 or 5 times. They always pick outdoor. They're like the outdoor. But
so I reckon I'd say outdoor, just because I've been to some pretty cool amphitheaters up in Cairns. They've got the Coranda Amphitheater, and it's all like in the rainforest. And when you get on those hills with the natural, sound and everything is incredible. And you're under the stars, and it's a pretty cool vibe.
That's crazy.
Indoors, wicked though. It really depends what the venue's doing with it, though. It's such a hard question.
Because that's the thing with me. Because
I'm going to say outdoor because I haven't done it before, and I'm all about new experience. So outdoor.
As a DJ, I'm always like indoor because I found that you can get better lighting effect, right? So I'm looking at it differently too, right? I'm always like, outdoor the lighting wasn't so great. The indoor you can enhance. So I don't know. I think for show wise, I think you know what? I don't know. I think I'd go indoor. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would pick. I think you get more of the lighting system can affect the show a little bit better. But but I don't know. The outdoor vibe could be an amazing vibe. So you brought up camping a few times.
Yes.
Now that's funny because I had this up here. Do you prefer camping with a tent or cottage style type of camping?
I would say because I like to be in a bit of comfort. I would say I do like the caravan, so it's in between. It's a cottage on wheels, you know.
That's right. You end up buying tell me about that. You end up buying a caravan.
I can definitely feral out there for a few days. Like when we went to Burning Man, that was 6 days in the desert. And I was sharing an RV with a lot of people, you know. Wow. Some people can't do that. It's the filth and the noise, and there's no clocks out there. So some people are partying at night and some people are partying at day.
I'm the cottage. I'm the cottage guy.
I grew up, my dad used to take us to like apartments and things, and then it wasn't until I was older and I started camping and realized how beautiful it is to actually be in the nature. So if we're camping, it's going to be a tent because it's camping. If it's a cottage, I feel like we're just we got like we can just do cheese platters on the
damn
deck. That's exactly what we do at home.
I used to always make a joke. I'm like, I don't want to go camping because I don't want to pretend that I'm homeless. All right.
You got to make such an effort to make yourself like, I'm having a good time.
I was like, I remember the last time I went camping, it was so hot that literally when I got out of the tent, I was sucking on the screen to breathe. I was like, oh my God.
This is during summer.
I don't know.
Hectic. You got to keep going down to like the little creeks and things to like bathe in. Like
I was like, man, the tent thing is like it was cool as a kid, but the older I got, I was like, no, thank you.
Tent 2 nights. If it's a week stay, definitely a cabin.
Okay, that's definitely doable.
About times and things.
That's definitely doable. So what's big? What's your next plan? What's next for you?
Oh, I just wanted, like, I'm creating this lifestyle for myself, so I just never want it to end. I'm in the middle of writing 5 songs, so I know I can do it when I've got time. I'll give you an example. So I got down and had some space over Christmas, and I literally wrote a song in 2 hours. It was called Christmas Delight, and I just got a beat, and it was like ba-da-bow, da-da-da, like it was real like sultry and sexy, and I just started going for it. And then I came up with this song, which I love, and I haven't recorded it yet because I don't own the beat. It was one of those free ones given. So I've got to get someone to produce it and make it. But I ended up performing that one live at a Christmas event. And I know when I have the space that I can produce the goods, but it's like I need to get that space to be able to create. So I'm in the middle of writing, and I've got another film clip I'm making next month. And I just landed a gig with a Brisbane nightclub, the Wickham. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's like a massive nightclub.
What is this gig like? What does it consist of? What do you have to do here?
Well, it will probably be another like a Pride night. So they're going to have other performers there. So they might be some of the drag queens. They're super famous down there. But not necessarily. He said he was going to put me on a Friday or Saturday night because when he heard that there was nipple tassels and and feathers and hooker heels involved, he was like, "Shit, we can't put you on at the 5 o'clock, baby. We're gonna have to put you on more like 11."
Yeah.
I was like, wild, because that means the club will be,
Absolutely, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and it's exposure because the Sunshine Coast where I live is quite quiet. It's more family orientated, and there's a lot of like acoustic artists and super sick artists on the coast. But when people hear my stuff, they're like, "Wow, you can't play that here." We're trying to sell some families some stuff, and I don't even get a look in. But then as soon as I go to Gold Coast or Brisbane, I feel like that will be more my audience. So I'm going to try and delve in there. But not only that, I want to do some more collaborations. There's an amazing artist, Gyros. He's going to use me on one of his songs.
Yeah.
Even a friend of yours.
Yeah,
There's got an interest. So all sorts of collaborations I'm all about. The more collaborations, the better. I've got a gorgeous friend, DJ Brookie, and I'm really wanting her to create some music for me because she's a female DJ and she's wicked. So I really want to do some work with her. So
yeah, Bam had this one girl that he asked to get on, and I was hoping produce the song, and I was just like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what I was visioning. It wasn't
It wasn't terrible.
No, but the thing is, like, when I heard it, I hated it at first, and then I heard it again. I'm like, it wasn't because
it grew on you. This is what
you had a vision. I had a vision, and it wasn't it. And I was like, okay, this can work. But I'm like, we met you and listened to you, and I was just like, I kind of asked him, I was like, do you think she'd be a better fit? And he's like, yes. And I was like, okay, I'm just, because I wasn't crazy here. I'm just like, this isn't fitting. And when it comes to music, I always tell people, I know you might hurt a few people's feelings along the way to be like, this isn't what I like, or because some people will just be like, oh, can you get on my song? And it's the terrible part of the song, and let them be on the track. And I'm like, take it off. It's your music. Like, I know it sucks. It's business sometimes, right? Like, but
there's different forms of it. Like, so I got asked to write for someone, and I was like, oh, sick. Like, this is going to be an opportunity. And when they tell the topic of their song, it's so easy for me to write because they've given me the inspiration. I just start going for it. Whereas when you've got to come up with your own inspiration and it's got to come from you, it's actually so much harder. Like, if someone goes, oh, this is what we're writing about, I'm like, sick. And I just start going for it. I can see that. It's easy. So
as soon as I listened to your stuff, I just told him, I go, check her out. Do you think this fits better? And right away he messaged me. He's like, yeah. So that's why I reached out to you and be like, would you be interested? That'd be cool. That'll be super dope.
Speaking of which, people don't know, like, I've got also a talented friend that plays the guitar. Like, he's a mad guitarist. And he told me the hardest part about writing a song, about making a song, is the lyrics. And I was like, I disagree, because we learn a fucking instrument.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah, and people just don't give themselves credit for the talent they have. It's like, I believe the creators of the music, like, I'm definitely putting in some input, and I didn't even call myself a musician for ages because I didn't feel like I had the right to, because I don't play an instrument.
That's
and
right.
the more I started looking at it, I'm like, no, I'm making my own music. I'm a musician. Like, and it's like I felt like I had to earn the title in some way because it's such a, I respect it so much. The
Me
people
too.
that are in the industry. And
I'm the same way. because they're like, "Oh, you're a great DJ." I'm like, "But you know how to play instruments." Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like,
You play like
I'm
five
not.
instruments, and like in your spare time, you're like a professional dancer. But whatevs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm nothing like you. I respect the musicians. The ones that play actual instruments are just you took the
Yeah.
time and patience, and you're reading
Oh my
notes that
God.
don't mean nothing to me. Like, congratulations.
Yes.
Like, I was just like, yeah, no, I totally agree with
Yeah.
that.
And the
So
credit to the drags too, because the drag queens, like that takes years to master that stuff. Like they're like the full package, you know, like
Yeah.
the queens, because they do the performing and, you know, they're just such great artists. So I'm so enjoying the culture and the following that I'm getting. I'm actually like, because I feel like I should be probably doing more singing lessons at the moment, which I have a couple booked in, but I'm probably buying more costumes than I am doing singing
Come on,
lessons.
it's the
you know
fun
what I mean?
part. It's
And
the
it's because
fun
my
part.
inspiration comes from all these glamour pussies that are burlesquing and fucking dragging it up. And I'm like,
It's the fucking fun part. That's the best part.
yeah, it's the fun part. It's like,
That's what we
yes,
do.
I need to work on my vocal cords. I know that. Yeah.
But I'll be singing on the way to shopping while I go shopping.
Yeah,
you know?
like, wow, shop.
Exactly.
Wow, shop and get my array of wigs and boots and lashes. Whatevs.
That's the way I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I know, but that's what makes it fun and entertaining right, for
Yes,
yourself,
it
right?
is.
So
Yeah.
but then you're like, I'll get there, but this is good. I want to, so people they can follow you on Instagram, right?
Woo woo. Yeah.
That's a Tiggy underscore V underscore.
Tiggy
And
Vivacious.
then yes, and that's on all major streaming
Yes, on
platforms.
my major platforms. Amazon as well, yeah.
Yes. I have Amazon. And when I did my research, Amazon pays you guys the most.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I saw the chart and I was like, so I made a joke one time. I'm like, you guys can thank me for using Amazon. I didn't pick it on purpose. I bought the Alexa thing, so I kind of got forced to buy the whole Amazon thing. I was like, screw it. but it pays the most. It's not you're not gonna be a millionaire from my playing, but it pays like I think it actually pays like a penny per play or something. Where I think Spotify is like a third of a penny, something crazy like that though.
Yeah,
it's pretty freaking crazy. But tell me about your latest video.
Oh, the one I'm creating?
No, the one that
no, that's a surprise.
Yes, the Old Bones on YouTube.
Oh, Old Bones. Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. That was really fun to make. So we hired out this hall because we wanted to have it. I don't know. I wanted it to be. I think I was wearing like boots, and it was like black, and I had like dripping mascara, and it was. I had to do a lot of acting in it, like in the mirror, like my soul. And we had candles lit. I'm pretty sure I was laying in the dunes at some point, just like my life, had to like show the pain.
Yeah. It's a part of right. It's a part of the video, right? Yeah,
it was part of the video. That was so fun to create though. We did it over 2 days. And Rob Bruffy actually was a newsreader here in Australia. I grew up watching him on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then now his daughter goes to the school. We're at school pickup all the time together. And
nice.
She's awesome. But like, it's just weird because now I'm working with him, and it's weird because I'm used to seeing him growing up on the TV. While I was doing my clips and stuff, and he's doing documentary work, and I'm pretty sure he's retired now. Like, so this is like a hobby business for him, but he's super talented. And
the video.
I want to definitely collab with people, but when I say collab, I respect people's art, so I won't just say, "Oh, let's do a collaboration. You can just do free work for me." It's like I really want to pay people for their time, and because it gets to a point, especially because I did this with photography for so many years, you start trying to just experiment on people, I think, and you're like, oh yeah, this is an opportunity, but then soon it just becomes work, and the opportunity's like, oh, I don't think I'm learning anything anymore. I think I'm just getting used. And so I know as an artist through my photography that like, people have to lay down the law. If you know your worth, if you know you're going to devote this much time, you have to say, I want this much money, or because you've got to raise the bar, and people will meet you there. Because I know people that charge like a lot of money for things, and they don't do that much more extra than what someone is charging this. But the fact that they've put that price up there, that price tag, they're actually attracting a different
crowd of people, and a different audience. So it really depends. Like, you've got to set the bar. You've got to be an artist and you've got to set the bar.
Do you find being a photographer that you get asked to do like weird stuff like weddings or yeah, right?
I drew the line there. I was like, that's weekends. Fuck that. But at the same time, I love it. It is a beautiful day.
I used to always get DJing too. Like, so you're gonna DJ my
yeah,
wedding?
it's not weekends, but it's different. Weekends nights is a party. Like,
I was like, but they want it next to nothing, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, what do you mean? You want me to not make this money over here, but do it for free over there? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I always found when you had something that someone else didn't have, and photography is huge. It was always like, well, can you come take some pictures? Again, underestimating what it is and how much time and everything else. That it's easy because no one else does it. They just looks easy, and that's the thing. So people expect it to be like, oh, it's easy. Just come by, take a couple pictures, and you're like,
whatever. No. You're just not. You're not doing 15 hours of editing and running around and printing and all that.
That's exactly it.
You're just taking some pictures, but it's so much more than that.
How did you get into photography?
I self-taught. Like, I just
Really?
I just started. I actually did an introductory because when I was younger at school, I was going to do it because I was out of home at 15. I grew up pretty fast, which is probably why I was 19 working in refugee camps and just going off around the world traveling and things. I was like, I got this,
Your life is. It feels like I haven't done anything in mine after hearing you today. I was like,
whatever. But so it was fun. I don't know photography. So when I was a kid, it was I think it was $3,500 to do like a full diploma, which is 2 years. Yeah. That skyrocketed to like 16 grand. I went to diploma cost 16 grand because they know now that art can make, like, in a wedding, for instance, you can charge $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. So they're like, there's a market here, and so they've just bumped the price of the in America especially. I don't know about Canada as much, but there's for education is huge fees, And so with photography, I did the introductory 3-month course to get like the little bit of knowledge, and then just went away and did it myself.
That's awesome. Why not,
and you learn from your mistakes, like I was doing heaps of free shoots and like just fiddling with Photoshop and things. But now I actually want to learn this sort of stuff with my music and with GarageBand. Like I mentioned, I bought a mic recently and now I'm learning GarageBand and that. And it's like YouTube tutorials. Like, if you spend the time and things, and I'm going to practice, and I'm going to make lots of mistakes, but I'm going to have fun. And I'll probably meet some people in the process. So it's all gold.
My next purchase is going to be the
the
Final Cut Pro for Mac, the video editing one. That's my next purchase for. I've been using iMovie, and you can only do so much with it, right? So that's my next purchase is going to be that, and that's what especially when the world opens up, because I'm not going to be doing as many when it opens up. There's going to be a lot more footage and not as much live events, right? So
I heard you're going to go on the road and things, like you're going to.
I can't wait. That's the big thing. I want to take it.
That's the dream, baby.
Exactly. Why not? You know what I mean? The amount of people we met and places we want to go with it. That's why not? We enjoy doing it, right? So we definitely love it.
No, you're doing an amazing.
I appreciate it, and I really appreciate you taking the time to being on.
Yeah, thank you. It's been fun.
And it's been great. You've been great to work with, even though we are 13 hours apart.
I know, we're so far. It's like the furthest point.
13 hours apart, and everything went well. We communicated literally, and it went really, really well. And I appreciate you taking the time to, answering me questions and going back and forth. So I gotta thank you for that. Do not change your style ever, please.
Cheers, babe.
Ever. Keep being you.
It's definitely evolving.
I love it. And hopefully when you get more stuff, hit me up. We're going to get you back on.
You.
It would be a pleasure. Tiggy, thank you so much. I'm going to be playing your video, Old Bones. Thank you so much. Have yourself a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Round we go, like a horse on a carousel. Can't let go. I'm beginning to lose control. We're beautiful, but my heart's ready to explode. Oh, you don't know if I'll live to see your bones. Make you feel alright, yeah, we alright. heart's ready to explode. Oh, you don't know if I'll live to see your bones. Funny games we play each and every day, but I love the way you play. My intensity, my curse, I try to control, but it just gets worse. You tease, I get mean. This here is a familiar scene. Good intentions, interventions. Here we go again, throwing in the kitchen. Why is it so fucking hard just to listen? You're cruel and me too. Oh, I know I got too many demons, but imagine being loved as hard as you do. Round we go, like a horse on a carousel. Can't let go, I'm beginning to lose control. But my heart's ready to explode. Oh, you don't know if I'll live to see your bones. Make me feel alright, you feel alright, yeah, we alright. Gotta love this life, I love our life. But damn, we fight, yeah, shit, we fight. We come good before we love more. Ready to explode. Oh, you don't know if I'll live to see your bones.